meantime, or in the interim, pardon the pun, Kevin Lee fought Michael Chiesa. Now, that's not a massively high-profile fight. Two very good guys, two guys that certainly know how to fight, that's for sure. And Kevin Lee took Chiesa out, quick style, first round rear naked choke. Now, as luck would have it, Tony Ferguson was working the Fox desk. I think it was his first time he was having an audition on there, and he was working the Fox desk. And after whoever wins the main event, not always, but often if they can get them, Fox will have the panel, do an interview. And so obviously, Kenny asked some questions, Karen Bryant asked some questions, and Tony Ferguson asked something, and it was Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson went back and forth, and there was a lot of shit talk. And, Kevin Lee is a good talker. Tony is a good talker. He's certainly not shy in coming forward. So them two went off on a rant for about 5 minutes, and it was pretty spectacular TV. It was awesome to watch. And I think that's what sealed the deal. Did you not see that?
Yeah, no, I ended up seeing like the recaps and the highlights of it. And yeah, look, here's the thing. I don't mind that. I don't mind two guys that don't like each other getting in there and fighting. It's just a little bit strange that Kevin Lee coming off a win over Michael Chiesa, and then, a handful of, he didn't really have any other big fights beyond that. In fact, I believe he was unranked like 6 months ago. Like, he wasn't even in the UFC rankings. And then he kind of just talked shit, or he shit talked his way into a fight, which is great, It's just a little bit strange that he's put there. Look, I'm not even hating, dude. Good for him. If he ends up winning, that's kind of what happened with John Jones. John Jones wasn't supposed to get the title shot. You remember?
Yeah, but hold on a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's on a 5-fight win streak. He lost to Leonardo Santos, and he lost to Al Iaquinta by decision. Okay, so he's got 2 losses in the UFC. Then he won 1, 2. Then he won 4 in a row. Lost to Leonardo Santos by TKO. That's not a good look. And then went on a 5-fight win streak, Efrain Escudero. Jake Matthews, who's a very underestimated fighter. Magomed Mustafayev, whatever the fuck.
It's my favorite.
Francisco Trinaldo, Michael Chiesa. 5-fight win streak. It's not crazy. Yeah, he's not one of the more high-profile guys. But as we said, he didn't talk his way into it. He wasn't trying to talk his way into it. It just naturally occurred. And then when Khabib turned it down, Tony's got to fight somebody, and who's he going to fight that people might be interested in? Well, Kevin Lee. I'm looking forward to the fight. I think it'll be a great fight. Got to favor Tony going into this one. Tony Tony Ferguson is a man that just doesn't give a fuck, and he really doesn't, and he's very unique. He has unique training methods. He trains very bizarrely. He trains on his own. He doesn't really have a team. I mean, he has a team of people around him, kind of like me.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what you do.
Yeah, I'm not affiliated with the team as such, but I do have people that support me and brands that support me and things like that, and I have guys that I go to, kind of like Tony Ferguson uses Eddie Bravo, and I'm sure he has other guys that he regularly uses. He's been up at Big Bear, Big Bear Mountain for, I don't know, the last 6 weeks or so, isolating himself up there, running at all crazy times. So basically doing everything he can. He's certainly dedicated himself. He's not down here doing fucking podcasts like me. Yeah, I don't know. Kevin Lee is up against it, but Kevin Lee is a very, very fast, powerful, explosive striker with good wrestling. So this isn't a walk in the park for anybody. I've got to give you my pick, and I'll go with Ferguson. Ferguson has beaten better competition. Ferguson is on a longer fight win streak. Ferguson, for those reasons, I think he can give him problems. I think Kevin Lee might connect a few times on the feet. We saw Lando Venata connect quite a lot with Tony Ferguson. Tony gets hit. He does. But one thing Tony's got that cannot be denied is he's got huge fucking balls, man. And he takes those shots and he goes forward and he takes chances and then he ends up finding a knee bar or a Doris choke or whatever. So, Tony is always in exciting fights. Kevin Lee, I'm a fan. I like watching him fight. I've just got to go with Tony Ferguson here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing. Like, with Kevin Lee, it almost, because he has those losses, it's kind of hard to it's not like it's not like he can't be beaten. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Tony Ferguson has fought a lot tougher competition, but I almost feel like there's this kind of unknown X factor about Kevin Lee. I almost feel like those losses.
No, there is for sure, and he's been boxing with Floyd Mayweather and the whole money team down there in Vegas, so his hands might be amazing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you
please, no, don't worry about it. I just think that it's almost like when a guy loses a couple times early in his UFC career. Yes, it means something, but this is his first time main eventing. This is his first time coming for a title. This is coming off of a huge win over Michael Chiesa, which there was a ton of like media coverage on that fight before, leading up to that fight. You know, they had that scuffle, and then there was the whole thing about, you know, about his mom, and then he beat him in the fight, and it was fucking like crazy the way that he won the fight. This was like,
oh shit, yeah. That press conference where yeah, he jumped. He turned up dressed like fucking LL Cool J or something.
Yeah.
And then attacked, which, by the way, was awesome. So that's partly why he's got this title shot as well. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was
that press conference. That stole the entire show, man.
Yep.
Come on.
So that I remember that summer promo. It was so cool. They were doing like the promo for like that entire. I guess the press conference was for the summer of crazy UFC fights, and they stole the whole show. So this is the first time you have the spotlight on Kevin Lee the way it is, and there's just something about that where I don't know. I think we're going to see absolutely the best Kevin Lee. And I'm just going to go out on a limb just because, fuck it, who knows? Shot in the dark. I'd like to, play spoiler.
But here's the thing. It's all, I mean, you did hit on the intangible there. And that is how he's going to perform under the big spotlight. Now, of course, his last fight was a main event, but it's one thing being a main event, on FS1. I'm not sure where that fight was, wherever it was, but being in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena or the MGM Grand or wherever it's going to be, pay-per-view, main event, title fight on the line, that's a lot at stake. That's a lot of balls. A lot of consequences. And he's only 26, I believe. So it's how he handles that. Not everybody handles that so well. I remember I was handling it all well until my first main event. I fought Rashad Evans. And I did handle it well, but I had the wrong mindset. I fought Rashad Evans, and I'd watched Rashad Evans on The Ultimate Fighter, and I seen him beat a ton of guys and this and that. And I was certainly trying to beat him, but I was also kind of just like happy to be there. You know what I'm saying? I was like, fuck, this is awesome. I'm here. And that was really probably one of the many reasons why I lost that fight. And then afterwards I was like, oh yeah, well that was okay. I did well. It was a split decision against Rashad Evans. It was like, no, fuck that. That was the wrong attitude. I should have been disgusted with myself. And it's how he handles that. He might look across that cage and think, oh shit, that's Tony Ferguson. I've seen him in here for a long time fucking people up. Or he might think, fuck, that's Tony Ferguson. I'm gonna eat this guy up.
Right.
And it's what mindset he has, because that really will dictate what happens in the fight,
Ooh, I'm watching his highlight reel right now. He's good, dude. Kevin Lee is really good. Very athletic.
Oh, Kevin's fast. He's explosive. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's got great wrestling. As I say, slick boxing. Very, very athletic. Feels always kind of weird when you're describing a black guy and you say, very athletic. We were talking about this on Fox recently. Oh, he's very athletic. They're all athletic. But no, he is. He's very, very athletic.
Yeah, dude. He's. I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna pick him in this fight just because I think there's something there. And look, I think Tony Ferguson's great. We've had him on the radio show before. I like Tony Ferguson a lot, but
he's an interesting individual, that's for sure.
Ready? This is Jordan Cotter. Jordan Cotter wants to know, I feel like I'm in a different universe when you guys talk about John Fitch. I honestly do not remember ever watching a boring John Fitch fight. I haven't seen him fight in a while, but I remember him always being an exciting, tough fighter. The lay and pray guys I remember were Matt Hughes and Randy Couture, both of which had really exciting fights, but that I was fans of. But my question is unrelated. It looks like fighters absorb an incredible amount of pain in the ring, but they rarely show it. Are they jacked up on painkillers when they enter the octagon? It's a good question, but I would also like to respond to the John Fitch portion. So, Michael.
So you do the John Fitch, I'll do the next part.
Yeah, dude, what are you talking? Go watch fucking John Fitch fights, dude. He's had a couple moments, really gritty performance against George St. Pierre in that title fight. The documentary leading up to it was great. I'm a fan of John Fitch, but he was a dude just like Jake Shields, just like Yushin Okami, just like Matt Hughes for the most part. Yeah, dude, he would get on top of you and he would grind and he would grind and he would grind, and that's not as aesthetically pleasing. I'm a huge fan of the sport, and I can admit that that's not as aesthetically pleasing. So casual fans, of course, they were booing, of course, they weren't into it, and John Fitch in particular, he's one guy. I think he went like 10 or 11 in a row. He was killing dudes that were super exciting. So he was like a guy who was demanding a super high price tag. He didn't have a super exciting style. And then he was killing the records of these guys that were fucking monsters because he was a little bit better than them, and his style enabled him to beat them in decisions. So it just wasn't there was no net positive with John Fitch.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking up John Fitch online and trying to find out some examples. Yeah. You're right. Probably not the most exciting style, but